All right, and it's great to see you out there, Sharon, Gail. Thanks for joining us out there in Canada. All right, so let's kick things off with the big picture, your business blueprint. So tonight, I want to introduce to you a method, and it's called the 103 by 12. It's a clear, realistic plan to grow 10K in monthly wellness volume over the next 10 months. Some of you are halfway there. Some of you are just starting and you have all the way to go. Let's talk about how it breaks down. So what we're looking for is 100 loyal customers, and that means that they're people who love your signature bundle and they're buying around $100 a month in wellness products. And then we're looking for 3 team builders who maybe most likely come from that customer base, who love their results so much they decide to share and grow a community of their own. And this is what I'm coaching with to my clients, is this exact method. So now 12 months is a time frame that I've suggested, just simply because it gives speed, it gives you a clear milestone of when to do this. It's a doable timeline to build this without pressure or burnout, but that doesn't mean, for some it could take you longer or shorter. This isn't about just trying to say spam strangers or convincing people who aren't ready. It's about building real relationships, sharing your story, and consistently guiding people into a transformation that they want. But before I continue, let me introduce the wonderful man that helped me conceptualize this method and bring it to life. And let's all welcome Mr. Rusty Oast. Welcome, Rusty. Great to see you here. Thanks for joining.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure. Honor.
Yeah, it's so good to have you. And for many of you, you may not realize this, but Rusty is in many of the presentations that are in your Wellness Resource Center. So, Rusty, tell us a little bit about what made you set the goal on 100 customers. Because actually, this is where I got it from, was you. I remember you telling me this when we first started kind of engaging, when I was asking you to be one of our speakers, and you told me about that. So share with me, if you could, kind of where you came up with that number and how did you go about making that happen?
Well, I would like to tell you that we started our business for all these altruistic reasons, but we started our business because we were broke. And people may have a hard time understanding how 2 pharmacists could be broke, but we were. Because of a bank failure and some other reasons, and we knew that we just couldn't continue to do the same thing and recover. And so Shackley was a perfect vehicle for us. And we didn't have a wealth of people that we could talk to, and we didn't have a lot of, we made our living answering the phone, not calling people. And so we had to figure out a way to accomplish what we wanted to accomplish in a comfortable way. And the best thing I could tell anybody is that if you talk about Shackley without saying Shackley, then all of a sudden people approach you about Shackley. And that made it comfortable for us. And that's how we actually built our business. And we decided how much money we needed, and then we formulated an accomplishment goal plan to achieve that. And ours involved talking to as many people a week as it took to get 3 qualified appointments to talk to people about one of the aspects of Shackley. And by talking about Shackley, we could figure out what people really wanted to hear, and so that's what we would talk about. Maybe it was financial wellness, maybe it was physical wellness, maybe it was mental health, whatever it was. We talked about what they wanted to talk about, and they would approach us about Shackley. And then it was comfortable for us to talk to them, because after all, they brought it up. And 10,000 PV was the magic number for us that would provide the income that would replace June's pharmacy salary. I continued to work. This was 1983. I continued to work as a pharmacist until 2000, but she stopped working as a pharmacist, she always said she was an enlightened pharmacist. And she ran our business, and I helped her. I did a lot of the initial prospecting and stuff like that. And it allowed us to create a very strong financial base. And we didn't have to, the beauty of having 100 customers using 100 PV a month is that as we start the month of August, we don't have to worry about what our volume is going to be, because we know that it's going to be at least 10,000, and that allows us to spend the time that we want to spend doing other productive things, like maybe adding people or providing more customer service or expanding people's use of Shackley products. We called it Shackleyizing. It's kind of a crazy word.
And I mean, this is in the 80s, so there's no internet. So they're not, I don't even know if you had member direct order back then. How?
Oh, we didn't. When Roger Barnett bought Shackley in 2004, he made it a lot easier for us, because he's the one that decided Shackley should have a website. And when we got started, and you probably remember this also, Jody, is that only directors could buy from Shackley, and only in case lots. So we all had to have a huge inventory, and people would come to our house, or UPS man came every day to pick up packages that we shipped all over the United States. And with member direct ordering and the website and auto ship and loyalty orders, that's just made it so much easier to get repeat business. And it was not going to be profitable for us to bring in 5 new people and have 4 drop off the back end.
Right.
We didn't have the time. We were working. I was working 80 hours a week. June was working 60 hours a week. And so when we got a customer, we had to take care of them so they'd buy again next month.
And I don't want to get too much into it, but I think it's important to know, because actually Sharon Braun just shared that she always loved your Fido Bites. And there's probably a lot of people here that don't even know that you made a regular, I don't know, was it monthly? It was a hard copy. I know my parents used to get it, a Fido Bites newsletter. And now, of course, here at YFP, we're making a newsletter. Could you talk a little bit about how the newsletter was important? And yours, of course, was a physical mailer.
Well, our sponsor told us that Procter & Gamble spends $54 million a week approaching your customers, and that the least you could do is send them a newsletter once a month. So we would do that. But it's involved even more than that now with member direct ordering, and the fact that they don't come in our office, we don't get to see them. It's important that we recognize them for what they are doing. And so if someone orders a new product, then I will send them some sort of an article on that product and reinforce why they're using it. Or I might, based on something they order, I might suggest they try something else next time and send them an article about it.
Mm-hmm. Would you tuck that in with the newsletter? Because I'm assuming the newsletter is kind of, already pre-prepared in its, what you already had to say, and then you would add in a little insert, something like that?
4 pages of insert, of personal information.
Right. And are you still...
Over and above.
Are you still, if I remember correctly, because June was talking to me about this, that you still had basically like a PDF download people could get from you, where you'd send a whole package of Fido Bites. Am I right? Does that still exist?
I still do. Yeah. It's a zip file. And okay. So it just comes, and so if somebody orders mental acuity, it's pretty easy for me just to attach that mental acuity, and they're all one page. They're all anecdotal and hopefully a little humorous and something that people want to read. It's not just a boring fact sheet. And
Right.
because it's my opinion, I can be a little more free and be liberal. The only thing, I caution people when they do it that it's against the law to put it on social media.
Right.
Shackley will shut them down and me.
Yeah. Yeah. So
So
it'd be safe in
that
the
hurt.
retention group where nobody else is able to see it, but not posting it
Yes,
anonymously or in their discovery group or their business page. So yeah. Could we maybe just
right.
tell everyone to message us in our YFP community and we could coordinate them with you if they wanted to get something like that?
Yeah, it's $15.
There you go.
And it's up to date. It doesn't have, the only thing it doesn't have is it doesn't have the Modera products.
Okay. Great to know.
I don't want to get into that. So
Yeah. Okay. So let's just circle over for a minute if we could. You used direct mail as your way. Could you just talk a little bit about that as one of the ways that you were able to find people and the importance of going outside that inner circle of people you already know, like, and trust?
well, we have just a second.
Looks like he agrees. Let's just ask everyone to jump in for a minute while we're waiting for Rusty to come back. Oh, there we go. Looks like.
Yeah, we have rabbits in our yard, and the dog doesn't like it.
Okay, not those
So
specific
anyway,
rabbits.
we had a very limited group of people, and we had to be able to expand outside our circle of influence.
Mm-hmm.
And so we used direct mail, we used newspaper ads. Today, nobody reads the newspaper. And so, and you mentioned something about artificial intelligence. So with that, with digital material, you have there's a lot of skepticism, if you will, about what people see. But in a printed letter, and we did it. It was all very personal, and so it was all handwritten. It wasn't. It didn't come across as a form letter,
Right.
but it was very successful, and it got it got us the people that we needed to talk to get to where we wanted to go, and we wanted 10,000 PV a month, and that's where it worked. And so we did whatever it took to get there. And now I saw the other day we're almost at $4 million, and we're not anywhere close to being a superstar. We're just people who wanted to earn some money.
And you mentioned the importance of cold market outreach. So just so everyone's clear, that Rusty was sending direct mail or snail mail to strangers and getting leads from that, where they would then reply to that, correct?
Yes, talking about Shackley without saying the word Shackley.
Right.
I personally don't think anybody wants to hear about Shackley. I don't. I think if you stood out on the corner and you tried to talk to 1,000 people about Shackley, you wouldn't get one. But people are interested a lot in what Shackley is about. It's about physical health and mental health and financial health and environmental health and things that today people really are interested in. We have to figure out a way to get them to approach us about Shackley. What could I do about that? We talk about it.
Right. So talking about their wellness struggles, the things they're interested in, and then connect that to Shackley as the vehicle to help them solve that.
Yes. I might, I have something that's helped a lot of people, and it might help you. And we talk about it.
By the way, can I ask this one question? How long did it take you to reach your 10,000 goal?
Well, we had set a goal to increase 500 PV a month
Okay.
until we got to 10,000. And in 6 months, we would have hit 10,000, but our mind wasn't ready. And so we didn't. But it took 8 months.
8 months. So you did it in less than 12. So it's doable.
Yes.
This is a realistic plan.
And remember, we needed income, Jody. Yeah, this wasn't a
Hobby.
fun little hobby for us.
Right.
We needed income. And our boys at the time were 6 and 8, and they were in college at the same time. It was expensive, and we never had to borrow money. Never had a mortgage. It's a great life.
Yeah, and you've sailed the world and enjoyed the benefits of it. As my daughters would say, bruh.
All because of 8 months of dedicated work, and it wasn't full time, and it still isn't.
Mm-mm.
I see people who work Shackley full time, and they're way more successful than we were, but we did what we wanted to do, and we got what we wanted to get.
I love it. Well, listen, I appreciate you sharing so much. It seems like the bunny rabbit is back.
I'm going to shut up.
Listen, guys, share if you could. What did you take away? What's your big takeaway from what Rusty shared with you tonight? And if you'd love to see him on an upcoming wellness webcast, put that in the chat as well. Rusty has so many great things to share, and he's got some great stuff he talked about on heart health. And, he's just so down to earth. So thank you so much for being here tonight, Rusty. You mean a lot to us. We appreciate you. And just stay with us until the end of the show, and we'll bring you back, okay?
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so hang in there. So now back to the method. Here's how you'll get to 10K months. So let's talk about this slide. Let's bring up the slide. And that's, as actually Rusty shared with me, getting 3 yeses a week, I believe is what it was. 3 yeses a week. So that might mean you have 5 appointments a week. That could mean you need 10 conversations to get those 3 yeses. And then, of course, the follow-up, as Rusty really shared, following up with care and clarity. And one of the resources to use is your weekly wellness show. Also, your reels that we talked about, right, where you're creating your wellness show and then chopping that up into reels. Our team can help you with that, with our video editing service. And then also, we also offer, we have an e-newsletter that we build for you, as well as we are expanding with our Smart Send to be able to make hard copies for those of you that want to do snail mail. Many of you still do, and you've used your own way, but those of you that don't have a method, we have an automated way where it's all built. You don't have to do any labeling or anything like that, so that's something to think about. So let's just take a minute to visualize the 100 by 3 by 12 method as a journey map. So in months 1 to 3, your goal might be to support your first 10 to 15 customers. By month 6, you're up to 50 and mentoring your first team builder. By month 12, you've grown into a full rhythm, 100 customers, 3 builders, and you've made 10K month and 10K in volume. And as you saw with Rusty, he did it in 8. So it's definitely possible. So see it on paper can make it feel more possible and more real.